Welcome to Keep Stream Skip Podcast. Hey everyone, this is Keep Stream Skip. I'm your host Nick with my two co-hosts here.
Samantha.
And Juliana.
Yeah, so that took a little bit, but this is our first episode, and what we're doing here is we're doing retrospectives. We're going into the deep dive streaming area of things like Tubi and Freevee and all those other guys, and seeing what's out there and seeing what craziness we can find to give to you all. There are spoilers, and so just fair warning, there are going to be spoilers for these movies, but we'll let you know if they're worth the while, especially some of the crazy things that we've seen just in our first episode. So it is Pride Month. It is June, so we do have a couple of queer cinema movies, some queer adjacent, but otherwise, please excuse any errors that we have as we go along, and just enjoy all the good stuff. So the first film we're going to start out with, Juliana, want to go ahead and kick it off?
Yeah. First film that we decided to watch is called Baby Cat. Meow. Meow. Which is about a lovely young lady, Dana, moving into her new apartment and falling in love with the building's cat. But the big shocker here, that cat is actually an adult woman in a cat costume.
Not full furry, though. Not full furry.
No.
It's more just...
a bra and underwear and...
It's like Slutty Cat, I guess?
Slutty cat.
Slutty cat. Not baby cat.
But imagine if you had a slutty cat that just like kept on coming to your doorstep. You have no idea where they've been sleeping. And what you find out is that slutty cat fights crime.
But not only does she fight crime, she turns into this beast.
Yeah. And so it's supposed to be LGBTQ positive, and it is it's quite a ride. So you have Sox Wentmore, Natalie Carter, and Fawn Winters as the titular characters of this crazy movie. The plot is essentially all surrounded by Fawn Winters' character is Baby Cat. And she basically just keeps on bothering our tenant over and over again until they have sex. And that's the line on this. It's supposed to be a romantic comedy somehow. So So it starts off with this woman moving into the apartment, Dana, and Dana's all like, okay, great. And I'm starting this job with this oil company in Los Angeles. And so she goes ahead and you see her go to her job, which is an empty office hallway of sorts of cubicles, very small cubicles, and with a boss who does not make any sense. He's not talking to anybody. He talks to invisible people.
Very inspiring stuff, really.
Yeah, he tries to do these things. You've got to do sales and all this other stuff, and she's just along for the ride the entire time. Dana is, and then she comes home to Baby Cat constantly being there in her little slutty costume.
Yeah, everyone's all right with it too.
Yeah. The landlord treats her as a normal thing.
Yeah, they just say, "Oh, that's just a cat. She's there."
Yep. Despite it being brought to their attention that this is an adult woman.
Yeah. So the things progress where she eventually, Dana allows our baby cat inside of her apartment, and things just heat up from there like a really bad Red Shoes diary.
And meanwhile, the cat person is not even saying a word. She's just meowing. Meow.
It's alluded that she uses a litter box at some point. And Dana buys her cat toys and really goes
and milk
and goes full into this
and has a little cat bed too.
Yeah.
Remember that?
That was
Yeah.
an important moment for sure.
Yeah.
Buying that cat bed. It's an important step in any relationship.
Eventually, we get to a point where they actually form a sexual relationship that still has not traded any words at all. And so eventually, Baby Cat meets the mother, Dana's mother, who visits her at a restaurant, and she talks just fine, which is where
Totally normal.
Totally normal girl.
In normal outfit too, and just, you just think that they really are a couple.
Yeah.
And there's nothing weird about it.
nothing weird at all.
I really get Dana's frustration this whole time, honestly. I'm like, you could talk?
Yeah, it's just
For real?
that's where our drama kicks in. Is the fact that she can talk, not the fact that, oh my god, I have a job that has an insane boss who talks to invisible people, and I just screwed a woman who lives on the street apparently.
Wasn't it a dream at first?
I don't. Yeah, she
Yeah,
did
she thought
fantasize-
she
yeah,
dreamed about
She
it.
started fantasizing about it because it is like this stripper cat, I guess, that's on her doorstep.
Meow.
And things ensue. But yeah, the whole drama starts when she's like, you could talk, I can't believe this. And she holds her own by going, meow. Just meows over and over again.
When they're alone.
Yeah, when they're alone.
Yeah, when they're, God help you if you're not. So in Baby Cat, we found this on Tubi, and you can stream it right now. I think you might be able to find it on Amazon Prime, but it's a crazy written story written by Scott Hillman. Eventually, what you find out is in between all the stuff that Dana's going through, you get these excerpts of crime being taken down, and you find out later that somehow Baby Cat is this government agent who's taking down these drug rings, and
While turning into a beast. Remember that?
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
She turns into a
In and out of the sheets.
That sounded like the SNL skit with the whole like sweaty ball thing, like in and out of the sheets. That's right. That's a good one. Thank you. It is. Oh, I appreciate that.
That's what I was going for.
So, eventually, that's pretty much the film. Scott Hillman directed and did. He's actually been, I believe, he was a grip and a gaffer and stuff on other films, but decided to do this comedy. And that's not to mention all the weird special effects we can't tell are intentional or not, which are really bad green screen.
Oh my god.
At one point when the green screen was on and we're watching the green screen because you just cannot not watch it. All of a sudden there's like this giant that walks by her apartment. It's like, wait, what? Did I just see that?
The camera, they recorded a B-roll of just outside the apartment railing where the walkway is, and instead of having the zoom correct, as soon as someone walked past, you just see this giant normal person pass by without any kind of like acknowledgement or anything like that. And this is between getting like pizza delivery, and the delivery person is not only the same pizza person, but they're also like their food person and this person and telegram
Letter deliverer.
yeah. They're just the same actor over and over again. It's supposed to be like, I guess, just over the top lampooning itself, but it's a hard watch.
Difficult.
Yeah,
Funny.
I give it up to Vaughn Winters for carrying the movie.
Oh yeah. Baby Cat did.
Right.
Her
You
baby
just watch
best.
it for a baby cat.
Yeah. The hot steamy scenes between Dana and Baby Cat.
And what did you refer to it as when she poked?
Oh yeah, like a 12-year-old in middle school who first was on like the first date or something, just like poking. Well, okay, so there's a scene without context. There's a scene where she, where Baby Cat takes off her top, and then Dana decides to just press her boob with a single index finger very slowly and go, "Whoa." Even though she has her own, like it was just some teenager who is like touching breasts for the first time. It was just wow.
I don't know if that's how anyone touches breasts for the first time, though, to be honest.
It's like
a doorbell.
Yeah. That or checking like if the steak is too far done.
There you go.
It feels like this part of my hand. So what we do as a part of our movie review is we also kind of rate certain things, and we're probably going to add or maybe subtract. I don't know. We're in the dry run of this, so we look at things like the screenplay. What was like? Did it at least have a cohesive story? Was it entertaining? Was it something that had any substance in it? Did it keep to its theme? That kind of thing. And we rated it out of 10. With direction, same thing. We rated it out of 10 as best as we can possibly do with a film like this, or any films that are like this in the future. And we also look at how the cast performed and any special effects, if applicable, and the overall score. And lastly, we always tell you whether or not we would keep it. In other words, own it, stream it, just watch it. I wouldn't own it, or skip it altogether. So Samantha, what'd you do for Baby Cat?
Okay, so for the screenplay, I put 5, just because it was very original. I haven't seen anything like that script done before. However, it was still kind of what do I want to say? Not really cohesive. Like there was definitely gaps there. Okay. For direction, just a 3. Because again, who really knew where the direction was going till it went there plenty of times. Cast, 6, because there was, the cast members, and I thought they were really well for their parts. And then the special effects, a 0.
So what's your overall?
So my overall is 3.5.
3.5 out of 10.
And I would stream it.
You almost said keep.
She's already bought it.
I already bought it.
It's because of Fawn Winners. All right, so Juliana, what do you got?
All right. I gave the screenplay a 3 out of 10. I felt like there was very minimal storyline. And gosh, some of those lines, they're funny. The meows, really. That's where that's gonna come
Meow
from.
out of 10.
Meow out of 10. Direction, I'm gonna have to give that a 3 as well. Again, I feel like some of those shots, I don't know if it's the same cinematographer as later on, but those like pans and just zooms for no reason.
Yeah.
Just kill me. Cast, I do have to give a 5. I feel like all of them did a pretty good job with their role. My personal favorite was that delivery man. Loved him. And I have to agree with Sam. Special effects get a 0. I can't comment on that. And overall, a 3 out of 10. I would definitely stream it for funsies, but only once.
I'm pretty much aligned with you guys. I gave it screenplay 2 out of 10 because it was just, if it was trying to be comedic, it didn't really hit really well. It put too much of the same joke in there. We'd elongate the joke too long. And if it wasn't supposed to be comedic, well, that's obviously not true. It's in the genre of comedy, but let's say it was trying to take itself seriously at certain points. Also didn't really hit the mark. So it just, nothing really went home with what it was trying to do, as far as anything goes. As far as that's the other thing too, is they try to loop in queerness with furries in a way.
Oh yeah, that one cringe line.
Yeah, I forget exactly what they said, but I was like, that's a kink or a fetish. I don't know about.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Yeah, like you're gonna tie and just dress them. Anyways, that was a weird thing too. As far as direction, it looks like they did exactly what the director wanted them to do. So I would say, if that's what he wanted to have done, technically he's at a 6 level. As far as making something good and entertaining, it's more like a 2 or a 3. The cast, again, were trying to hold their own at 4 out of 10. there was times where I'm like, you should have pushed back on the director at least a little bit on some of this. And as special effects, if it was intentional, 5 out of 10. If it was not intentional, 0 out of 10. It was just sloppy, horrible, terrible green screen. Sometimes the person was even in completely in the screen. Like you'd see like pixelation and everything else. However, because of how crazy it is and the 4 out of 10 status and all that stuff, I would still stream it. It is, it's a sight to behold. You have to at least like sit down with friends and just have fun with it because it's a lot of fun. And the thing is, that's to say that for Scott Hillman, the creator of this, I kind of want to see him do more, and he has done more, like Blue Belt. But I don't want him to stop making these horrible tragedies. At the same token, he has to understand these are horrible, horrible tragedies.
These are something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so like we talked about in the beginning, real quick in the introduction, we also want to do like retrospectives, and in keeping in line with the month, we try to do something that was either queer cinema, like we did with Baby Cat, with so many different characters, including one that was trans. We didn't mention that earlier, but there's a lot of positivity there. Saved is kind of queer adjacent. It has the foundation for it, but the focus is actually on the characters that are not in that in the LGBTQ community. It's so we're going to have to kind of say, we're riding the line a little bit, but you'll see why. It's a great movie, but it was made in 2004. So it's a comedy and a drama directed by Brian Danley. Has actors like Jenna Malone, Mandy Moore, known for her singing as well, Macaulay Culkin, and I'm missing somebody who was she was in Weeds. Gosh, the mom.
Yes. Parker.
Mary Louise Parker.
Thank you. Mary Louise Parker. Yeah. So you might know her on Showtime's on Weeds. She's been in a bunch of stuff. She's also plays the mom in this. But it's an interesting satire on religious schools as well as evangelical religion. It kind of pokes fun at it, but it doesn't necessarily poke fun at Christianity as a whole. But Samantha, why don't you tell more about Saved? I don't want to like just dominate here.
All right. So you have the typical mean girl group, and then one of them ends up pregnant. And of course, it's a Christian school. So she decides to kind of get away from those mean girls because they're mean. Like Mandy Moore, I never saw her like that mean before. So that happens. She gets pregnant by this guy that just confessed to her a little while ago that he was gay. And then he got sent off to, what's that kind of house?
Mercy House.
Mercy House, to where, of course, they try to pray the gay away. And then, so now I'm all tongue-tied.
That's not funny stuff. You know, praying gay away is horrible and it should be stopped. I don't know why we were laughing. No. So no, yeah, it is bad. But in this case, it's a more used as a comedic thing. Basically what happens is she's in this clique. Everything's perfect. Everything's going the way it's supposed to. She has the perfect boyfriend, but they go down in the pool to tell each other truths. And she finally hears out that he's so.
What was that?
Got
it.
And so he announces that, and she's like, you know what? I'm going to try to help him. And by helping him, I'm going to have sex with him. And then I'll show him that he could be straight. And it doesn't work. And instead she ends up becoming pregnant. He goes to Mercy House for that conversion with another male roommate who is also going through the same trials and tribulations. And her mom is dating the pastor / principal of this Christian school, who is Mr. Cool, who they met earlier in Orlando at this function, this conference, and started hitting it off, and things started to progress from there. So we have like so many different storylines But one of the most fun ones, of course, is with the Jewish student who comes in, the first one ever. Cassandra, yeah.
Love her.
She's like a little badass that comes in and smoking and everything. And Mandy Moore's like, I'm going to turn her into Christian because look at all this sinning she's doing. So we have all this mishmash going on. And Mandy Moore's character takes care of Macaulay Culkin, who is in a wheelchair because he fell out of a treehouse and ended up becoming paralyzed from the waist down. And so he starts to get the hots for this Jewish student that came in. And there's that many storylines going on.
That's Mandy Moore's brother, right? Macaulay Culkin was.
Yeah, in the
brother.
story.
Yeah, not.
Not in real life. Yeah. So did I even say what the film is? It's called Saved. I don't know if I already did or not, but it's Saved. I think I just started going into it, and I was like, wait a minute.
No, I think you said it at
okay,
the
good.
beginning.
So, anyways, we have him in the wheelchair with the love interest of the Jewish student who is doing everything like talking in tongues and causing all this trouble, and she's not getting kicked out. And she's kind of calling him out on their BS that they do.
Because she could be saved.
Yeah, the whole time she could be saved. It's in the title. So that is in its own right, and they all kind of come together. Eventually, Jenna Malone, whose character is pregnant and going through all this, meets a love interest as well that Mandy Moore wants to actually be involved with. Who was he played by? I forget who that was.
Patrick something.
Well, if you see
Patrick,
the character was named Patrick.
How would you say that?
Fugit?
Fugit?
Fugit. I see.
Well, that's unfortunate.
I'm so sorry.
So Patrick, the actor,
Patrick.
his character's name is Patrick. Well, they start to hit it off, and he's like the best guy ever. And I like what Juliana said. You said there's so many green flags. That's a red flag.
It for real.
Yeah.
He was too good of a guy. I was waiting for that other shoe to drop. Maybe that just says more about me, but...
Well, I also think back in 2004, they were still on the whole, everybody, happy ending, everybody accepts,
Yeah. Well, that's the thing I was hit on. I'll get back to that later. So, that the whole movie is going forward for the pregnancy, and you're thinking like all these things are going to happen. You have the ups and downs. And again, we spoil a little bit. I don't want to spoil too much, but you just know that eventually they get to the prom. They were kicked out because of Mandy Moore's character's like shenanigans, the spray painting the school, but they come back in there. Everybody comes together eventually, regardless of the dramas that happen in between then. And the whole thing is basically poking at evangelicalism as it is in the United States, especially with Mandy Moore's character being such a hypocrite the entire time. And what's surprising is that they're not trying to lampoon religion or even Christianity, just that very, very specific hypocritical type of evangelicalism that's in the United States. So everybody kind of learns their lesson, and they go back to what Samantha was saying, is that the ending was so good they wrapped up every single loose end between the mom and the preacher's relationship, to the Jewish student and Macaulay Culkin's character, to her thing and Patrick with the pregnancy, and then her gay ex-boyfriend actually meets the guy in the Mercy house, and everything's happy there, and they come to the prom later on, and they're all like, yeah, we're going to be in the prom. And then he's happy about having a kid, even though that's a shocker, and all this stuff.
Right, because they're still in high school.
Yeah. Everything is just happy. Everything's going to be fine. Everybody peace, love, and granola at the end. That's the only thing that I have a problem with this movie, is that it is too good of an ending. Like, this just never happens.
Yeah, usually, like, after a movie, you start questioning your why. Why did I spend my time on this movie?
And again, you got to remember, this is made in 2004. So any kind of LGBTQ film that actually did something good or shaped a certain way, that is great. I mean, we've been having films since 1960s and so on, but to have one that actually had mainstream actors in it, for the most part, it's good. So I'll start off the rating. I think the screenplay did exactly what it was supposed to do. Everything was, for as many side stories as there were going on, it still seemed cohesive. Although the ending just to me was like, meh, that's just too good. It felt too fake. That's an 8 out of 10. Direction, 9 out of 10. Everything was good. I really appreciated the lighting and the way that the vision was of the DP and everybody coming together to make some of those really close face shots that felt really intimate and really cool. The cast, 10 out of 10. They acted the hell out of their roles. They did everything there. Nothing felt corny. No line deliveries were weird. It just was solid. And that goes back to direction, screenplay, and of course, cast working off of that. Special effects, there's not really much. I mean, there's just a few practical things that they did. Jesus in the pool and all that stuff. But that was 5 out of 10 because there really isn't much you can do. It's not like it's Aliens or Star Trek or something. Overall, 8, I'd say. 8 out of 10. I would keep it just because of the fact that it really does send a great message, albeit it is the best, everybody lives happily ever after you could possibly imagine. So there's no real big thinking there. And special note, my favorite scene is the exorcism where Mandy Moore throws her Bible at Jenna Malone and she picks it up. She's like, this isn't a weapon. And I'm like, yeah, that really hits home with the theme of the entire film. So very, very cool.
All right. So I gave a 6 to the screenplay because I didn't think it was original. Because, you had that stuff before where, everything happens and, there's a bad guy and a good guy and yay. I've seen that plenty of times before. Direction, I gave a 7 out of 10. I feel like they all did what they needed to do. Casting, 10 out of 10. They acted, like Nick said, the shit out of their roles. Special effects, I gave a 4. If you looked at the Jesus in the beginning when they were painting it, you could see that it was broken already.
Oh, good catch.
Wow.
Okay, so I had to ding down for that. Overall, it'd be a 6. I would probably just stream it. I wouldn't want to keep it.
Wanted to see more abortion.
Yeah.
You know how I like abortion.
On that note, I would go ahead and rate the screenplay 7 out of 10. I thought there were some good jokes in there, good lines, definitely, and a good message behind the screenplay. Although I feel like sometimes it did feel a little dry or cliche. Like I kept thinking of a bunch of different movies while I was watching it. Direction, I would say 7 out of 10. I feel like some of the characters could have gone a little bit more with their, like Hillary, played by Mandy Moore. I feel like she could have been a little bit more, honestly, in my opinion. And then some of the scenes were very, like, driving into Jesus through a parking lot. I was a little confused why that was happening. Cast, 8 out of 10. Again, some of the characters I felt like could have been a little bit more, but they did really good. Special effects, I also got to go 4 out of 10 because there really wasn't much besides Jesus in the pool. And then overall, I would say 7 out of 10, and I would also stream it. I don't think I would keep this one.
I think it's because it's just nostalgic. I saw that when I was still in college when it came out. Someone's like, oh, yeah, we should watch this. It's really good. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so I got that connection of like that and hanging out. And so that's probably why it's
good
a
old
keep for me.
days.
Yeah. All right. So so the format's going to usually have 2 films, but we're going to go ahead and wing one of them. And that's Blue Belt that we mentioned earlier by the same writer-director, Scott Hillman, who, if this ever gets popular enough, I would love to interview and see what his thinking is on these things, because we have a lot of questions.
And Sox Whitmore is in this one, too.
Yes.
Yes. Sox Whitmore, who was, they were the trans person in Baby Cat, and they were just kind of like another tenant, and then now they're the main character in Blue Belt. So, all right, I don't know how to describe Blue Belt.
It's
rough.
about kung fu.
Is it though?
You're right.
Is it though?
But in my understanding, kung fu doesn't use fists.
Yeah, from my understanding, I could do kung fu after watching
Yeah.
that movie.
So you ever like play a fighting game with your cousin who's younger than you, and he just starts spamming the same button over and over again? That's the kung fu in this movie.
Yeah.
Just spamming punch, 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 punch. So the cool. So here, so there's some ups and downs with this, and the other thing, the downs are pretty bad. First and foremost, the tone of the entire movie goes up and down so much. It's supposed to be a comedy, but then they want you to take it seriously, and then when you're not taking seriously, or you're taking too seriously, then it's like, no, I want you to be a comedy, and it's just whiplash back and forth of it.
The message is very, very lost. The tone of that entire film.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, of course, like the racism.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, if you're French, Italian, I think Greek was mentioned too. It's and Asian.
Definitely heavy on the French and Italian, though.
Yeah.
How they hate each other.
Yeah, and apparently the creators of that film hate them. So
So bad. It's so bad, and the effects are what you would get with Final Cut Pro Free Edition.
And the accents.
Nobody knew anything, and then there's like this twist. So the reason why we're jumping around the story, just talking about it, is because that's kind of how the story felt. You were introduced to Sox's character, who has the blue belt, and
Riley.
Yeah, she's on a Zoom call. Or I'm sorry, yes, that's right. Thank you. Mm-hmm. They are on this Zoom call, and it's just, I don't know.
Why do you have Zoom calls in a movie?
Yeah.
About kung fu.
And there's the guy doesn't seem like he's talking about the same thing as what's in the Zoom call sometimes. And then there's like this marbled mouth other woman. I say marbled mouth because her accent is so bad. I don't know where it's from. It's just bad.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
And they're nonsensical.
That could be all of the accents.
Yeah.
What was it, the uncle?
Yeah, like this old guy that plays the uncle.
Marble mouth.
And then he's just there, and there's a French movie. It's like basically the French mob is trying to stop or trying to purchase this property that's the bar that's made to look like it's out of a storage container. Because the door
That's what we got the vibe.
Yeah, by the docks.
And Riley, they can basically be super punching, and they do a super punch, and that's how they do it the entire time, is super punches until the end where I'm gonna kick my own ass. They have this blue flame and use that, and can catch bullets and throw them back.
And then
Dragon
she
Ball
went
Z.
to and they went to the police, her and her uncle. All of a sudden, her uncle couldn't even speak English.
Yeah.
He was saying syllables, and then they're at this police station, and the police are like, "Oh, well, you heard about vigilantes? Why don't you become one?" And it's like, what?
Yeah, it's hard to tell. It's just
Again, is it trying to be serious or is it trying to be comedic?
and this is the bad part. We're trying to recall this film, and we just saw it.
We just watched it.
Yeah.
I can't tell you what in the world we watched.
Yeah.
It ended with Sox's character getting married, right? Or like proposing marriage to that dude.
Right.
And they only met each other. Met each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love you. Let's get married.
Oh, don't forget the implied sex that was happening.
Oh my God, with the
whale sharks. There's whale sharks. So if there's any reason to watch this, it's to get to the point where you see the whale sharks, and then you hear Riley moaning in a sexual thing, but they don't set up why there's moaning going on, and you only find out until after the fact that it was there. But there's like it feels like 3 minutes of whale sharks.
There's so many whale sharks.
Yeah.
To music.
So it's supposed to be some sort of allegory to something? Like
sex is like whale sharks eating?
I just remember, because we watched it on Tubi, so there's commercials, and it comes back from commercials, and there's whales, and I'm like, did we switch the channel or something?
Are we on Discovery Channel?
Are we, like,
Here we have
what's
the
happening
whale
here?
shark in the background, listening to Riley having sex in a distant room.
And what's that? Meow. It's baby cat.
So, needless to say, Scott Hillman wrote and directed this one. He's got
some very interesting ideas.
that are most likely induced by drugs, like psilocybin or something. It is a fever dream, and probably it would make it easier to watch when you're high, because at least you'll be along for the ride. But I can't tell you how many times I said, "What?" because nothing made sense. And then even when they went to catch the bullet, they showed the bullet graphic, and then it looked like a bullet graphic, but it wasn't set up. And then it goes back to Riley and the bad guy, and then the bullet graphic hits again. And that's when we find out they can do the blue flame punching thing with the bullet.
Or like the crazy long scenes that they had for everything, like the fight scene, or
The whale sharks.
or the whale shark,
Or them just getting to the fight.
Or
to
the whale
fight.
sharks.
or them saying the French Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh, that's
question
right.
mark?
There's a whole scene dedicated to the
Or-
French Pledge of Allegiance.
And that's
And-
not even.
And for the record, if you are a citizen of the country, you most likely know their, anthem, and they're all ad-libbing all around,
It's nonsensical.
and you're like, what is going on here? Of course, that's what the whole movie's about.
They're all singing a different song in
Yeah.
Simlish.
And here's the other problem. They were guerrilla filming and having to blur the background. You can tell they did not have permission because of how they were doing it. And then they put in other stock footage that was way better in between certain things. And then eventually, when that one end scene where I talk about the bullet graphic, that's in a morgue. And they tried to blur the morgue word out, but it doesn't do it all the way in the frame. And you can deduce, oh, they're in a morgue right now filming. So,
Solid movie. 10 out of 10. No.
I'm gonna give it. I mean, I don't have any of this written down, but I'm gonna be like screenplay 1,
Yep.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I agree with that.
direction. It doesn't have it.
0. There's no
There is no
direction.
direction.
There's not even
of-
choreography. Cast, they're there.
They're there.
2, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they had
Because like the
ahead.
accents, the character traits, the
Special effects 0. Special effects are so 0. Overall, 2 out of 10. Keep, stream, skip. If you want to torture yourself in a crazy way, stream it.
I'd rather watch Baby Cat than Blue Belt again.
Yeah.
Baby
So I
Cat.
would definitely
Baby
skip
Cat would
this
be a
Yep.
10 out of 10.
if you watch Baby Cat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would skip it either way, honestly. That's a 1 out of 10, if
But-
that.
Here's the thing. Scott Hillman needs to keep on making these because these are insane. They're
They
just a fever
are.
dream of a guy who's like, I'm going to do this and no one's going to stop me.
We want to be really inclusive, but only for one certain minority. The rest.
Oh, yeah. LGBTQ. Oh, you're great. Live on the Mediterranean. Fuck you. It just makes no sense. So what we're going to do, again, this is just our first run of this. It's going to be janky. I know the last review was especially janky with us trying to explain what the hell was going on. But again, with these deep cuts, we basically want to introduce you all sorts of different films. We're going to do different ways of randomizing that. We're going to do like special picks that maybe the other of us haven't seen yet, but we really want to show them. And we'll be bringing more and more weird reviews or recommendations and to let you know what to check out and stream, and or to keep it or to skip it. Yeah. Any final thoughts?
We need a buzzer. Skip.
Oh yeah.
No, we need a meow buzz. Meow.
It's gonna be a theme for the whole show.
We're gonna have to slip one in each episode.
Please continue to listen to find out where we insert the meow.
Oh god. All right, everybody. Thanks for
Manifest
listening.
later on.
Please subscribe, share us, let people know we exist. We do say curse words ever so often, so it may not be for all ears, but we'll be giving you some weird deep cuts with these things, these movies, these straight to streaming, because it doesn't go straight to Blockbuster anymore. But anyways, you guys take care.